And of course, Indiana defeated Oregon 30-20, spoiling Oregon's 18 home game win streak. And now they'll play again on neutral field. And it's not about redemption in this one. I feel like it's validation. Oregon wants to fix the past mistakes. Indiana wants to prove they're no fluke. And I feel like for all the doubters, including myself, for the ones that wasn't sure if Indiana was real, I know I questioned the 7-point spread that they were over Bama. They proved me wrong last week. So if anything, they validated themselves to me, but I can't speak for everybody. I don't think Indiana at this point is a fluke. They put on one hell of a performance last week. Oregon looked good as well, but again, they are going to want to fix past mistakes to right that wrong. Indiana ended their 18 home game win streak. So now you want to get them back, especially to go to the national championship. Indiana entered as a 3.5-point favorite with the momentum behind them. So you gotta be comfortable. Spreads don't mean nothing at the end of the day, but you got to be comfortable with Oregon as that. You going in against a team that beats you. They got the momentum. They're unbeaten. And you're coming in as 3.5-point dogs. They got you right in the fight. Indiana's one win away from his first national championship game. And Oregon, of course, has never won a national title either. And I believe the last time they played in a national title game may have been 2014, 15, 2015. I believe so. Of course, the strength of this team is the efficiency. Indiana, offense identity, they're just balanced. You look, I think Mendoza has only thrown for over 300 in maybe one game this year, but they're balanced. They play ahead of the sticks. They're always in like third and shorts. They're never really in third and longs and things like that. And that just helps them keep drives alive. Mendoza, of course, the Heisman winner, leadership driven and low mistakes. He don't make a lot of mistakes. So as a quarterback, all you can ask for is efficiency and discipline, and he gives you both. They have a consistent running game as well. Multiple contributors in that backfield. Mendoza can even move himself. And the red zone efficiency and the clock management is something that they are very, very good at. So they're another team, if you get behind the sticks, if you get behind in the game, you do not want to be playing against this team because they're so efficient, whether it's third down, red zone, however you want to, say it. They're super, super, super efficient. And that's why it's so hard to get them off the field. They don't have to beat you in big plays. They're more than happy to take the 2, 3, 4 yards, take the little quick comeback if you playing soft coverage, things like the quick smoke screen to soft coverage just to take 2, 3 yards. Like if you watch Indiana, that's what makes them so hard to beat. So the thing is they're strong on third downs, of course, in the time of possession, and their scoring efficiency has been elite because they control the tempo in almost every game they play. Well, let's say every game because they're unbeaten. So they've controlled the tempo in every game they've played. Oregon's explosive. These two guys could arguably be Dante Moore and Mendoza. I'm speaking of could arguably be the 1 and 2 picks in the draft. Dante Moore is explosive and turnover sensitive in a way. He's a prolific passer. He can move, excellent completion rate. But like I said, the turnovers in key moments is what's big in this one, especially against this IU defense because they're gamers. They know them. They've played them. And now you're going to see them for a second time. And it makes it that much harder for you to, come and beat a team, smack a team in the mouth twice in a row. But at the same time, it's all mental. So if they get to Dante Moore early, have them thinking about the last matchup, have them think about this matchup in the moment and things getting bad, making shit hot. Like it could be one of them games where IU could have another dominant performance. However, I don't see it going that way. I think this will kind of be a gritty game. But the way that things went last week for both teams, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a high scoring game either. I do think that Oregon's defense looked very good last week. Of course, IU on both sides of the ball just looked phenomenal. But the key concern for that, like I said, that Oregon offense is going to be the turnovers and the decision-making under pressure. If they can, especially in the red zone, because as I said, IU has a great red zone efficiency. So if Oregon gets into that red zone, they definitely got to find ways to get points. Oregon has one of the best defenses, and they force turnovers and limit big plays. IU's defense emphasizes control. Of course, by the names, they might not jump off the charts, but they're super disciplined, and they limit explosive plays as well, which is why they had success against Oregon in that first game. Now, the question in this matchup, I think, will be, will the Ducks be able to generate pressure without giving up explosive plays? Because I do think that in this matchup, they're going to have to let their nuts hang a little bit more. Indiana doesn't really have to tweak much as the winning team. but they can also, take advantage of the opportunities that they may have seen that first game that they didn't capitalize on or may have missed out on, to where Oregon has to find that on top of a winning recipe. So they have a little more, to deal with coming into this matchup. But again, we'll see. Mendoza's poise versus Moore's decision making under pressure is going to be super huge in this matchup. Like I said, because he cannot have them third down and red zone opportunities and end up turning them over, let alone, in the drive. But you want to not only keep your drive alive, you don't want to put the ball in harm's way, trying to make a play and play hero ball. If you don't have it, you just got to live to fight another down, right? So that third down efficiency and of course the defensive stops is going to be what decides the game control, which will ultimately decide who wins this game. If Indiana is able to stay in front of the sticks, control the clock, play efficient football as they have all year, I do think that they can very well come in and win this game against Indiana to take care of them twice in one season. Again, Oregon does have the best offense in the league when you're talking about points per game, averaging 38 points per game, though. Their defense only averages 15 points per game, which is considered elite. But the efficient scoring and consistency and controlling the clock and converting on third downs, as I mentioned, is the reason why Indiana was able to snap Oregon's home dominance and give them the upper hand going into the Peach Bowls. I just think that this matchup overall is going to be super duper important for Dante Moore to come out, set the tone early, get in a rhythm, and stay in the rhythm. Don't get rattled, regardless of the moment. Mendoza's at an ultimate high right now. This can, in reality, be for the first pick in the draft. These two guys going head to head. The first game was a big one. This one's an even bigger one. So, man, this is such a tough decision for me because I think ahead a little bit to the matchups, and I have in my mind, I'm like, Miami versus Indiana. Miami would be at home at Hard Rock Stadium because that's where the national championship is. Indiana, Mendoza is from Miami, so this would be a crazy story. He's playing Miami in Miami his last year in college for the Hoosiers, undefeated, wasn't expected to be here. What a headline would be, what a story that would be either way that game went. Used back, the Hoosiers, but then you think about Miami versus Oregon, Cristobal's old school, they haven't never won, them two to play head to head, that would be dope. And then you also think about, say, Ole Miss, they've never won, going against either one of those other schools because they've never won. So Miami, although they haven't been here in so long, they're the only team out of any of these teams that have a national championship. So it's like, man, either way it goes, this is refreshing. This is what college football needed. This is showing you that now NIL makes a difference. You have 4 teams that aren't considered the powerhouses in today's football, but as you see, things are changing. Oregon's always been a solid team. Indiana, the last 2 years, has been in the playoffs, and now here they are as the 1 seed, undefeated, looking to be the first team to finish a season undefeated in the college football playoffs. You got Miami looking to get to their first national championship game in 24 years. You have Ole Miss that's never won a national championship. I mean, what better way to end the college football season than this? It's refreshing. It's good. I'm a Miami fan, so I'm damn sure loving it. The U is damn sure back. And I think that Indiana will win this game in a very tough one. But just like the other matchup, I don't think that if Oregon wins, I'd be surprised. I mean, somebody got to go home in these matchups. These are the last 4 standing. It's unfortunate, but just know if you're a fan of one of these 4, the chances of your team going home this weekend is likely. So you just hope that your team is the team that comes out on top. I'm going to go IU in a close one. I wouldn't be mad at whatever team wins this game. I would be mad if Ole Miss wins the other one because I am a Miami fan, but at the end of the day, again, it's a good story. So for that, it'd still be good for college football. And yeah, I believe this is my first podcast for the new year, so I'm going to end it like this. And I just want to let y'all know, Happy New Year. I'm out.